Begin. I think we are live. Let me check. Oh, here we go. There we go. Pardon me for the slight delay at the beginning. I had to find out how this works now because I've opened a different Zoom window. Good morning, lovely people, and thank you for joining us for a beautiful upscale brief interview that I have been counting down the days for, because this very lady next to me, Brooke Townsend, is very, very close to my heart. And I'm going to let her talk in a minute. But before I do, I want to tell a little story how Brooke and I met, and then I'll let her introduce herself. So I was sitting at Hapkido, my sons were training, and I was chatting to the beautiful Lisa, in case she's watching that, hello, who used to be the preschool teacher of my sons. And she was asking me how I was going after Rob's passing. And I said, I'm doing quite all right, but the one thing that is really, really tricky for me is going through all the leftovers, going through Rob's things, going through all these things that we wanted to sort out together and is now left behind as clutter. And all that clutter had emotional attachments that I never knew how to start. And I talk about that quite a bit. So I'm really, really excited to have Brooke here to talk to us about that in front of the camera. Yay. And Lisa said, oh, I know just the right lady to talk to. I'm like, who's that? And she said, Brooke. She's one of our preschool moms. And at that time, Brooke had only just started out, and she said, she's fantastic. She's doing exactly what you need. She's a professional declutterer. So to cut a very long story short, I have touched base with Brooke, and she touched my heart. So I'm really, really happy to have you here, Brooke. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us, how did you even get to start something like that, that we all find as too hard and you love it? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Welcome, Brooke.
Hi, so my name's Brooke from Bella Abode. I probably started my journey quite a few years prior, just dabbling here and there, always rearranging my own home. I came from parents that had a spot for everything and everything was in its place. Grew up with a father that had a spot for every tool, everything was labelled. That was my normal.
That's in your blood.
He never had wood shavings or metal shavings on the floor for more than half a day until that, he finished his job and it was cleaned up. I came from grandparents that had very neat homes, but back in that generation, you usually did. So, I was possibly destined for this job. I married, had children, and they were finally getting older and older. And as I said, at preschool, and I thought, what do I truly want to do with my life? My girlfriend said to me, one of my best friends I met in a mother's group, she said, Brooke, what do you want to do? What is it that you could do and still be doing in 5 years and just, love every moment of it? And I sat there and straight away it came to me. It was decluttering. Yeah. So I'd always had interest in it, always read up on it, looked at YouTube videos, TV documentaries, anything and everything I'd get my hands on. I'd go to the library and trawl the shelves, read up on anything I could. And then one day I thought, right, this is it. I need to do something for me now that the boys are older. I need to get out there and just do something for me. And right at that point, my father was actually diagnosed with an illness, and during the time that I met Marie, my father was getting sicker, and so it was serendipity, I think, that we met at the time we did. She was dealing with Rob, and she was helping me dealing with my dad. Probably halfway through, 6 months in, to our consults, my father passed, but I actually said to Marie, I messaged her and said, if you see something on Facebook, hear something, please let me know. I want to come to the consultations. That's what's getting me through. Even though my dad has just passed, I want to come and help you because that's helping me. And so I remember that, and you said, are you sure you want to come this week? And I said, yes, please. And during that, the process of me working through Rob's stuff with you would also help me work through with the grief of my father, and also decluttering my father's items and house, and packing up a holiday house of ours over the last sort of 18 months, we dealt with that, and I knew how, like, obviously my mum's pretty efficient in that too. So obviously, you know, I was meant to be the
Runs in
clutterer.
the family.
Yeah, it's in the family. So I helped her with contacts of what to donate where, what to, like, for e-waste, recycling, so forth. Again, so when I met Marie, it was a meet cute moment, because it meant that we helped each other so much through this. And during that time, I'm now working up to 6 days a week at the last few months. So not long after, then COVID hit. You know, life got in the way. I had to homeschool. My husband is a first responder, so he had to go to work, so I stayed home. I still did a little bit over the internet, but then again, after everything's starting to, the clogs are turning again within the universe, and I'm working and working and working. So and honestly,
I hope you take care of yourself too.
Yes, I am. I'm looking at finding a day to book in for a facial that I have a voucher for. Don't you worry. Make sure I get my massages and acupuncture, and play in the garden. And, you know, when I get ideas, I still get ideas from clients. Clients get ideas from me. I work with other declutterers. I work alongside them. I work under them. We're all a tight-knit community. It's amazing. So I come home and then sometimes even rearrange my own cupboards and shelves. I came home from an 8-hour day yesterday and spent another hour redoing my wardrobe. So I just went, whoa, hang on a moment. I haven't put those clothes away. My darlings
I bet
have.
like when you work with clients, you would come home and go like, oh, I should do that as well. Because I don't know how you feel, but I often do something like, you know, I run my regular interviews, I run my regular talks, and something would come up either from myself or from people that I interview or clients that I work with, and I instantly go into this note to self mode, and then I make little, I'm like, I need to look at that myself. So, Brooke, I know that, you know, during the time that we worked together, and it was probably in the span of approximately 2 years, or 1.5 to 2 years on and off, that I hired your services and got you in for these boosts where I really felt like I had this emotional block to move forward. And I was always like, you know, who are you going to call? Brooke, I need help. And you were always there for me. And I'm saying that not just in a physical and time matter, but in particular in an emotional sense, which was really huge for me. And you already shared that during the time that we worked together, your dad had passed, but also your family had been through these tremendous fires, which was really, really scary because it came very, very close to your property. And you were one of the few really lucky ones that got spared by the fires. So I remember the photos that you showed me, how close everything got. And so there was a lot of emotional stuff coming up for you as well. And I have to say, I was absolutely gobsmacked by your professionalism through that time, and that you actually used these emotions that came up for you to be even more empathetic to what I was going through. So it was really quite remarkable how that happened. So I would love to go a little bit more into how you can actually help people, because for me, you know, people would often think, well, what does a declutterer actually do? And I always get that question when I share that with people. Well, I had my professional decluttering lady come in, and, you know, and people go like, okay, so what does she actually do? Does she come in and do everything for you, or do you watch, or do you help, or do you do it and she watches? And I'm like, well, it's a bit of everything, really. It's like such a working together. It's almost like having a friend over, having a cup of tea, helping you sort through stuff. Only that you have this outside perspective, and it is very different sitting there with a friend, because when I try to do that with a friend, and I want to highlight that difference because it's very, very important. When I try to do that with a friend, I would go like, oh, no, I'll do this later. And I'd rather just focus on, you know, us now and having a chat and having a cuppa. You get distracted really, really easily, I have to admit, and then nothing gets done. And when those harder parts come where you're like, okay, that's really confrontational, it easily goes in the too hard basket. I'll look at that later, and not, okay, come on, let's do this. And you always have this really beautiful way of going like, okay, where do you want to start? So you have this mix of taking on the reins and let's go, and then also stepping back when you just felt that I needed to take over here, and you have a really great feel for that, I have to say. So tell us a bit about, like, why would people hire a professional declutterer rather than sitting there with a friend and working through it? I've already given some of my reasons away, but tell us about how do people actually get started? Because that's always like, what do you actually do when you come?
Okay, I think one of the most important things is you've booked in the time, and that is the time that I'm there. I'm only there for the 3 hours, 4 hours. I do 6 and 8 hour days with some, but that is a sort of when it's very emotional, I tend to do shorter hours because that's all often the clients can handle, and it's in some circumstances it's very heavy emotions, and honestly 3 hours, 4 hours is enough. And also too, I've got to look after me, so again I've got to be careful because I do take on the emotions, but I can also filter them out in a good way. What I find is that when people, obviously it's a paid service, so again that motivates you to get it done. I have a game plan every time I turn up to a client's house, and obviously in the first meeting when I get the brief of what you want done, I take that into account and work out roughly the order that we're going to do things in. But again, even within your own journey that we took, I would come in and assume things, but then also I know I've done a professional mental first aid course. I thought I knew a lot. Now I know even more. It was a 3-day course of crazy emotions, and you learned even more. I deal with NDIS clients as well, and just knowing all.
Can you explain it? Because I didn't know what NDIS was till you explained it to me.
So the National Disability, National Disability Insurance Scheme. So this can be people that have been in an accident, have been born with a certain situation that, you know, they just need help. So they can be anyone from that needs 24-hour care. They may have some mental health issues that they need to deal with, and that causes them to not be able to always be able to get through the day and get things done. So they might have like a carer that comes in, someone that shops for them. They have house cleaners. It could be someone.
It's such an incredible, beautiful service. Good morning, Terry, by the way.
So I help clients. I can come in and declutter for them. So through the NDIS, I can, they can claim it through that, so they don't have to pay it for themselves, because sometimes they just aren't physically or mentally able to do it for themselves. Those clients for me are just, they're amazing. So I help them get their life in order, sorted, work out with them what they do and don't need. Sometimes they're not sure, or they just aren't capable of physically getting the stuff up in and out of the home themselves. So they might be mentally capable, but just not physically. So I help them do it for them. So they sit there and I just go through it with them step by step. And I tell you what, those clients are so rewarding. Just seeing each session or each group of sessions, what we've achieved, and the look on their faces too is just, you know, it spurs me on to go the next day and the next day. So
and I also want to say one thing, you know, when we talked about before, when you mentioned when it's hugely emotional, you do it rather in smaller increments, as in, you know, increments as in 3 or 4 hours. But I have to say, I was absolutely blown away by how much we can do in those 3 or 4 hours. Absolutely incredible. Like I was actually thinking about if I should or shouldn't, because it's very confronting, but I actually will share these photos in the comments after the interview. One in particular, because I really, how do I put this? A really emotionally huge blockage for me was under my staircase. My staircase was already full of boxes before Rob passed, but after he passed, we added more and more and more stuff, and everything went under the staircase. And all of a sudden, it felt like this hugely intense energy, like really dusty and needed to be freed and blocked. It was blocked, exactly that. It felt like blocked energy in my house, and it was right in the center, you know. And we're going to get to that in a second as well. What I love. Exactly. I just wanted to say we're going to get to that in a second, because you always bring feng shui into that as well, which I really love, and we'll talk about it. But for me, it was really important. I said to you, there are a couple of corners. There were 3 corners that I wanted to address, and we had 2 days to do that. And I think one day was 3 hours, one day was 4 hours, and we got it all done. I was so gobsmacked how much we got done. And I said, let's get started with the hardest part. I just want to get the hardest part out of the way. And we literally dragged everything that was under my stairway into my living room. And I'm going to share that photo. I hope you're not going to faint. It was ridiculous. There were like 15 boxes, a Christmas tree, everything. That's not even a photo because we put it in the laundry. But anyway, it was just ridiculous how much. And this huge white cupboard that I wanted to get rid of, that all that stuff in it. And we did it all in one day. Emptied the cupboard, got rid of all the boxes. And we literally didn't just get rid of it. We sorted through every single one in 4 hours. I was so gobsmacked that we actually got it done. Because when we got started and we dragged everything up, I'm like, oh my God, I have no idea how to get through that.
Even I went, oh, okay.
So I'll share the before and after photo, because even you did. Don't tell me that now.
No, well, I never reveal those emotions, no. But I know that you are very efficient, and the amount of decluttering that we have done together, you are getting faster and better with every session, because you know the drill now, and we know each other's emotions and synchronicities, and we just go. And between us, and I can tell. And another thing I learnt, and I do learn with every single client, is I am there playing Tetris with their emotions, their body language, all the other family members.
To fit them in.
The pets, Lilu, Chica, you know, all that sort of comes into a circle, like, you know, a big ball, and then I've got to sort of sort all that. So I'm playing around.
What we had to do.
So I'm playing with all of that in my mind, amongst also what we're just sorting in front of it. So I'm reading, taking notes, taking cues. So again, it is actually, you know, it's quite mind-blowing as to how mentally exhausted sometimes I can be at the end of a session. But again, it's rewarding, because you realize what we've done. I have never slept as well as I have, especially in the last few months when I'm doing 5-6 days a week. I tell you, I come home, go to bed, and I woke up and think, wow, that was a good night's sleep, because I have worked hard. But again, it's so rewarding, and I love it, and it makes me get up and do it again the next day. And I've never had a job in my life that I've wanted to get up and go to every day.
Wow.
Like I have since doing this full time and pushing myself to go out.
So maybe, Brooke, if you don't
believe
mind,
in myself.
I absolutely love that, because this is the one thing that not many people can say, you know, that you really do love going to work. And I can feel that. Like when you come in, you come with such a can-do attitude, and it's that whole come on, let's do it, and we do that together, and you really do develop like a really beautiful relationship with your clients.
It is a very personal journey, considering what I mean, considering what we have sorted through in your home, other clients' homes. I'm talking about anything and everything in a home. I always ask the client too, is there anywhere off limits? Is there any drawers, cupboards, anything in particular? And I take cues on the clients as well.
Here. There's one thing, I love that you mentioned that. Is there anything off limit? Because I still remember when we first got started, there was so I went through a few of Rob's things, and I found the plane ticket.
Yes, that day was.
I'll never forget that. There was this plane ticket, and it was a tiny little pile of paperwork, plane tickets, and some other things from his last flight where he was supposed to come home and never did. And I remember I put it there on the windowsill, and I don't know how many months we didn't touch that. I was not ready to move it. I was not ready to put it anywhere else. Little things like that are actually huge. You know, it was a little part, but huge emotions attached, and I was not ready to touch it. And Brooke, you were so amazing. We were just like, we're just going to leave that here. We're going to work around this. And it was just really beautiful the way we worked through my whole home to actually make it a comfortable home. Like every morning now when I wake up, I feel such lightness in my house, and it has made such a huge difference in my life. And you know, it was really funny because the other day, I'm going to share this. This is so beautiful. It's such a testimony to how far I have come. Flynn texted me, my older son, and was like, "Oh, Mum, you know, he was, you know, he's at that age and he's hanging out at the skate park with his friends," and texted me and went like, "Oh, can my friends come over to our house?" I was like, "Yep, sure." And I ran to the house, and in 5 minutes, I kid you not, in 5 minutes, I had the house in a state where I'm like, "Yep, they can come over now." I was literally picking up some socks here and that. And before, I would have fainted and gone like, "No, not today, I'm sorry." But you know, I didn't want anybody in the house because there's too much clutter, too much that. I mean, I sound like a crazy lady now. If my house was a full-on hoarder place, it wasn't like that. But it was not at the stage where I would have felt comfortable in having people over all the time. And those who are really, really close to me understand the difference before and after. I had, I'm going to share that too here, and then I want to actually take you through a normal day with Brooke. But I want to share this one more thing. After we had to declutter the place, because for me, I had this goal that I want the whole house done before the 3rd anniversary of Rob's passing, which is in 11 days, basically. And I'm completely on timeline. I'm literally almost done. There are like 3 boxes left that I need to sort through, and that's it. Everything else has been done. Yes, I know. And actually, as we speak, I'm looking outside because I'm sitting in my office, and I've got these 2 beautiful landscapers getting the garden done. So even the yard will be done and finished after tonight. So I'm really stoked because everything is just falling into place. And this is all due to your help, Brooke, because without you, I'm saying that not lightheartedly, I would have not been able to achieve this. Really, no way. And so what I wanted to share was, because I had this timeline where I'm like, okay, by the 12th of June, I want to have the house finished and done, actually the 10th of June, because we're going away for that weekend. I had a body shop party booked at my place on the 22nd, I think. So I had an even shorter deadline where I'm like, well, at that time, I need the house in a state where I'm comfortable inviting friends over. And one of them in particular, Catherine, in case you're watching this, she is Mrs. Organized. Her house is always spotless, and like literally you can walk in and eat off the floor. Her house is just incredible. And she came in and she said, "You have come so far, Marie. It's incredible." And to hear that from her was like, full on reward. It was like the gold star. So that was really amazing, having people over. And only the day after did it occur to me that I thought, wow, I have had 15 women in my house. Like, if you would have asked me that a few months ago, I would have not felt ready to do that. And I'm not just talking about the clutter. I would have talked about the emotional state. I was not ready for big crowds. Not that 15 is big, but 15 women in my house is big.
It's still a big deal for anyone, really.
I was not ready to do that. And all of a sudden, I did it without even thinking. And only on the next day did I realize, I'm like, I can't believe what I just did. And it felt so comfortable, and I felt really good about it. So, Brooke, I think I would love to actually use that particular day where we emptied everything underneath the staircase as a particular or typical day, one day with Brooke, work with Brooke. That was 4 hours. That day was 4 hours. So walk us through that. Where did we start and how did we finish? Because I think it's really important for our audience to actually hear what happened during the day and how did we do it and who did what, because this is I've got my usual crowd. Hey, Shalina, so beautiful to see you all here. Over to you. Let's get started. Where did you start?
So I came in, we greeted, said hello, and then of course Chica and the darling dog also greeted me, said hello. And I've noticed too, in the last few months especially, I have had many a client come up to me and say, my goodness, that particular cat, that particular dog does not go near anybody and they will not leave you alone. And that too is something that they know I'm there to help.
Picky.
Yes, I've got one client where I have
Yeah.
to spend 15 minutes greeting the dog before I can start. The dog will not leave me alone until he has had his pats, his rubs, his tickles, and then when I can start. It's, so I figure I'm doing something right when the client's going, oh my goodness, that cat runs away from everyone, that dog will not go near anyone, they're not leaving you alone. And again, so the dog and the cat, we greeted, said hello. Then we said, right, let's go. Okay, we've got this amount of time, we've got this deadline. And that also helps too. Although it's scary to even contemplate those things sometimes, that motivates you even more, as well as I've only got so many hours to be there as well. And we just went in and we said, right, let's pull everything out one by one. Boxes, we put them up in the living area, bang, let's go, one after the other after the other. And it got to the point I said, is this a Mary Poppins staircase? Because how are you fitting all those boxes in there?
Like, how many
and she's
boxes
going, nope, there's
left?
more, there's more, there's more, now there's a Christmas tree. I'm thinking, okay, clearly a Mary Poppins, because what you could fit under that staircase.
To share this photo, I know it's confronting, but I want to share so you see what had actually been under this staircase. It's ridiculous how much.
But what we got rid of as well. So you donated a lot, you paid a lot forward, you recycled what you could. And it was because we've worked together a few sessions as well. It was bang, bang, bang. It was just, we were so efficient. Like I always felt like I was almost keeping up with you in that. And also too, one thing about me being there as well is, although I get to know the clients quite intimately, I'm still an outsider. So I can tell by all your body languages, whether you've got children, I can tell straight away.
So funny,
and I get to know the style of your love. So even when I'm doing a wardrobe, I can see the same thing. I can tell after a few pieces of clothing what your style is as well. And I can tell that you really don't want that anymore or need that anymore. These are the things that you love. And again, with the items that were under the stairs, I could tell you're ready to pass that on just by your body language, just by.
I love it. You mentioned that once or twice. You're like, you want this or not? Every now and then I'll stop when I wasn't really sure. And you're like, your body language is saying no, or your body language is saying yes. And I wasn't even aware of that. And I was so cool. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then that just, it's that reaffirming. And some things I will say, you're not ready to let go of that yet, keep that still. I'm not there to make sure you get rid of everything. There is no certain amounts that you have to get rid of. As long as there's a spot for it in your home, as long as you cherish it, you still find a need for it, then you keep it. I don't expect you to get rid of, say, 85% of the home, of the contents. It's as long as there's a spot for it, you're not tripping over it, you still love it, or you're still not sure, you can still have a not sure pile.
That is really important, the not sure thing, because we had quite a few of those when we worked through things where, 2 years ago, I would have not been ready to even touch it, let alone let go of it. And then 2 years later, all of a sudden I was like, well, I don't need that anymore. Or, we found an album with Rob's photos from his childhood and previous work and even previous girlfriends, I'm like, that doesn't mean anything to me. It was not, it sounds horrible when I say that, but that was not my time with Rob. And I felt that it would mean so much more to his parents to hold on to that. So I asked him if they wanted to have it. And his mom was instantly, she's like, yes, but I'm not ready to look at it yet. And I totally appreciate that. So we put it in a box and we put it away in her garage. And then the most beautiful thing happened. My sister-in-law rang me and she said, Marie, I just wanted to let you know the box of photos that you sent over? I said, yeah. She said, thank you so much for them. It meant so much to me. And I know Mom's not ready to look at them, but I want to actually make it into an album, and then it's there for anyone, even your boys, one day to just look at that and make it into something that is there to actually look at and not a box that is stored away. And she can do it. I wasn't ready to do that, because my priorities are in the here and in the now and in creating a happy home and life for the boys and myself. So there are so many other things that would contribute to making it into a beautiful memory. And it's beautiful to have other people contribute to that as well, like
and
Rob's
it will
sister,
help
you
her
know,
healing
and that,
process.
oh, it's amazing. And she will do a heaps better job than me because I've got a different connection to these very memories. That makes sense. So it was really beautiful that she just took over and she rang me and told me that. So
yeah, and there's also a reason why we did the order of your home in the order that we did, because I knew there were certain places, and you mentioned about that plane ticket. I knew straight away without even seeing what that was. I could feel the emotion, and I knew your history. I knew exactly what that was, and I said, put that down. Take a moment. You need to sit for a moment. You need to go and have a cup of tea and then come back. I knew straight away what that was. I could feel it in your emotions.
We had laughter, we had tears, we had breathers.
We did. And that was during the time when my dad had just passed through when that happened. So I was feeling every emotion that you did. And it was something that I'll never forget. It was something that I think we will together always be connected by that moment, because I knew, you knew, and we both just went, wow. Yeah, it was, I'm getting goosebumps now. It was magical. Something that, it was, if you take away what it was a beautiful bonding moment between us, because it just.
Absolutely.
And it was a very intimate moment. And I too become bonded with each and every client, whether it's only a one-off session, whether it's 20 sessions, you're going into their intimate personal lives, finding stuff about them. Obviously, you know, confidentiality is one of my biggest things. I never mention things. Obviously I might sports. And that's one of the most important things. Confidentiality.
The confidentiality is something, it's so huge. And in particular, because Brooke and I live in a small country town, and you know, we've got like 5,500 people. I don't even know exactly, but it's such a small town. Pretty much everyone knows everyone, and Brooke and I bump into each other quite a lot at our local Cupbearers, our beautiful little coffee shop. Break. And
very good coffee.
Yeah, very good coffee. Brooke every now and then volunteers there, so the coffee's even better when she makes it. Sorry, they're really good people there. I love it, and it's nice. Like even when I bump into you there, there's never a word said about, oh, I work with Marie, or we've done this and that. But I'm always the one, you know, posting
if you mention it, I mention it back.
And I love that, because you really step back with that. You really keep confidentiality very, very high. And I love that. And I really value that about you. And you have, I was actually the one who put it up to you and said, just post before and after pictures. It's fine. I'm fine with that. And you always show me, it's like, are you okay with this? Are you okay with that? Because you do it in a way that it's not, oh, that's Marie's home. You know, you do it in a way that you always say, oh, this is what I did with a client of mine. You always show me the photos before and you get my consent to post it. And I'm absolutely confident and comfortable with what you do, because I just love it. And I think that the more we share and the more I make myself vulnerable, and this is what I do in my group all the time, the more I can encourage other people to say, like, you know what, you're not alone in this. I totally get how hard that is. And that clutter is not just clutter. We're not talking about stuff that just needs to be chucked away. We're talking about stuff that has got emotional attachment.
Absolutely.
Where you want to find out, what do you do with all of that? So let's get us back to the day that we had together. So we dragged out all the boxes. We had everything lined out. Like we're talking like 15 plus boxes. And
they weren't small boxes either. And they were full with all sorts. They were semi categorized. I will admit that was very impressive. But there was a lot of them.
Yeah. So where did we take that from there? So we went through one box at the time, like literally, and Brooke let me take the reins with which box I wanted to go next with. And you're like, okay, do you want to start with that? Okay, yeah, let's do this one. Went through the boxes, and it was literally keep, donate, give to Rob's family, or chuck it. So that was literally a very quick and easy process. And okay, let's say a very quick and simple process, not always easy.
No, easier said than done. But honestly, the rate that we cycled through those boxes was like one of the best I've ever seen. It was like bang, 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 bang.
High five.
And and I almost had to keep up with you. And it was just, and I think you were ready. That was the important thing as well. You were ready to go through those boxes because we'd gone through the journey of the house. We were at the end. We had a deadline. which always helps. And I'm there as a impartial, I'm connected to you, but it's not my thing. So, and again, I've done so much decluttering that I know, and I can tell your body language. And to you, I'll say to you, as you said before, I'll say to you, no, you're ready to pass on that one. Or sometimes I go, no, you need to keep that, because you hesitate, and I go, no, you need to keep that, even if it's just for another 3 months. Keep that item, keep those items, because you're not ready to pass those on. And then you'll go, oh, yes, okay, that is the answer. I can tell. It's just the body language. It's just me reading you. And another thing I will say is, you only ever declutter your own items. You never declutter someone else's on their behalf if they're still living in the home, or if it's their items that they've moved out and left there. You need them to come and declutter them for you, because they're not your items to decide those,
That's so true, because we did
questions.
The boys' rooms as well. I remember we did that in one weekend, and we did Jed's room on one day and Flynn's room the other day, and we had each of them in their own room participate. And like literally, I was a bystander. I even had moments where I just let you do that with Flynn and Jed, and completely stepped back, and they became your little client, which was really cute when it came to sorting through their like boxes of little nitty-gritty toy bits, like
the ushies, the all sorts of things.
Massive,
I could tell,
massive, but it was so good.
And then and since then, like when I popped in the other day, the rooms have stayed as they are, because we've got down to what they really want.
A lot better than it used to be, but they have their ups and downs with the rooms.
But they're kids, and honestly,
but now they've got a place where everything goes, and that's a good thing.
They know where everything goes. Because I went through them with each individual item, they got to choose what was to stay in their room. They got to, and I did suggest at one stage, maybe go and have a cup of tea or coffee, and then once the boys were with me and they felt like that's it and we can just go. And I mean, both boys were amazing at what they cleaned, and they really got involved and got into it. And I mean, Jed was a little bit hesitant at the start with all these toys, but then again, he was that little bit younger where there was still at that age where some toys he wanted to keep.
Got
and then
a
I was
lot
like,
more
no.
emotional attachment than Flynn. Flynn's quite, let's get rid of that. I'm a teenager now, I don't need that stuff. So
but he was that bit younger as well when we did it. And so some things I'm like, no, let's keep those. You're not ready to get rid of them yet. That's okay. You can keep them. I'm not here to say get rid of everything. You keep what you want. And we put them all back. And honestly, his body language, everything transformed within those few hours, and he loved it in the end. And he still gives me a smile when I see him down the street, or if, when I come to the home, or I've got friends that live nearby you, when I go past your house to see them, and they go, and they smile at me. So it's obvious that, they're really appreciative.
Absolutely. So I want to literally finish that day off that we did together. So when we went through all the boxes, we literally went through every single box, and then all of a sudden there was only the huge white cupboard left. And that to me was remarkable, because as soon as we had emptied that cupboard, I put it on pay it forward. And before Brooke had left, we got rid of the cupboard. So the whole corner was free and empty. No more boxes, no more cupboard. The cupboard was empty. Everything was taken care of. Everything was taken downstairs to the office, because most of the stuff in the cupboard was, because I had my office corner up there, was still office stuff. I put it all in my office. I had like 4 boxes here, and there's only 1 left now. So I've even gone through 3 of the 4 boxes, and I've still got 11 more days. So I'm getting there. But there's literally 1 box left, 1 box out of 4, and everything else is put away, not just put away for later, put away where it belongs, which I'm really happy with. I've got my folders nicely stored in my cupboard. So it's really impressive how we started off with this huge cupboard cluttered full of stuff and 15 boxes, and we emptied the cupboard because we needed to take a photo of the cupboard with no boxes in front and with nothing on it. And before we had emptied the inside of the cupboard, I took photos, put it on pay it forward. Then we continued working, and within half an hour, I got a text message of, can I pick it up today? And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is all happening within 4 hours. And then the 2 of us even helped putting that cupboard onto the ute, which was ridiculous.
That was a bit hairy, but we got it on there. It was a very big cupboard, I must say. But it was meant to be that day. And what we plowed through, and then saying that, those 15 boxes that we got under the stairs, they were very easy to sort through. Those 4 boxes that you took down to your office where you are now, they, like, it can take 8 hours to go through 4 boxes. It can take 3 hours to go through 15
I did
boxes.
it in half an
There
hour.
is, wow, you know what I mean? But you knew exactly what was in those
Yeah.
boxes. So
Yeah.
there's never a set amount of time to what you need, what will take to go through what, because some things are just that intricate in the box
Yeah.
that it will take a while to sort out.
Yeah.
But again, I find the more consultations I have with the clients, the more rhythm they get in and the faster you get. And also to the momentum of seeing the changes within the home, the progress within the home.
Yeah.
And I often find the first 2-3 sessions, if I'm going to do multiple, it is nerve-wracking. You get anxious, you get stressed.
Because you don't know what to expect at first.
No,
you know?
and
It's
you're
like,
still fighting it, and you're
yeah.
not sure. And I'm a brand new person coming into your home, but I tell you what, by
Exactly.
the time we've done each session, by the time we've done, you know, the groups of multiple, you know, I get greeted like a long lost friend more and more by the end. And then by the end, sometimes I feel like I'm pretty much family, because that's what happens. I've come within your home. I've gone through the most intimate parts of your home with you. And I've created some amazing successes with you. But it's not just me that does it. It's you, the clients, that is just as amazing and impressive as to what you do.
Thank you.
That's what makes it. You know, you've got to be proud of yourself and what you're achieving within those. It's not about what I can do for you. It's you doing it yourself. I'm there to help you and keep you on track, point you in the right direction, keep you motivated, and just make you more aware of what you're doing. And that then allows you to make the progress a lot quicker, a lot, you know, more concise, more, you know, a conscientious sort of way of dealing with it. Because yes, you can do this stuff by yourself, but you're never going to get it done as fast or as.
See, when you say that, I'm instantly like, I can do it by myself, but, and what you said, that one word is detrimental to the whole process, and that is motivation. You know, to keep you motivated, and that is the one thing. I had a couple of corners in my house where I started, I kid you not, like 10, 15 times, and then stopped because I hit an emotional hurdle where I just felt like I can't do this on my own. And of course you can, no questions asked, but it's that motivation, you know, to keep on the ball and to keep you motivated. And then often when you go through a process like that, what we started with, dragging 15 boxes upstairs, it is so easy to get into complete overwhelm when you look at these boxes and go like, oh, I don't even know where to start. And then they sit there, and then it gets even worse because they're not stored away. They're right in your face. And then you're like, oh my God. And it gets into this, you know, you easily get into this, it's like
I'll just go and make a cup of tea. You procrastinate.
Exactly.
Oh, I'll just go and put a load of washing on because, you know, that would be time saving. And then you start cleaning the laundry, and then you make more mess.
You look for
before it gets organised and decluttered. But and then I'll just go and hang that load out. I'll just go and stack that dishwasher. Then you find it's dinner time. Then it goes another week later and another week later, and you're still tripping over these boxes. Whereas when I'm there with you, we get it done.
Absolutely.
In those times,
on the ball, and that is the most important factor, or one of many most important factors in your work with clients. You know, to keep me from sliding into procrastination. And Brooke, I'm very aware of time. We've got about 15 minutes left. So what I would like to do is, I'd love to run through some examples, because we talked about, you know, when we were decluttering, that there is the, keep it pile, get rid of it pile. In my case, it was pass it on to Rob's family, or pay it forward pile. So for us, in my case, that was those 4 categories basically. So, and then there's a little not sure pile. So I want to talk about that actually. So what happens with the not sure pile? Because we already talked about that some of the things just need more time, and in 3 months' time, you might be able to make a decision what to do with it. In other cases, I want to start off with a couple of examples that we did, and maybe you can add some more. We had, like, Rob wanted to sort through all his t-shirts, and I kid you not, he had like, oh God, easily 100 plus t-shirts in his cupboard. So what I did, I made 2 piles of the t-shirts, and a beautiful local lady was kind enough to make them into patchwork blankets for the boys. So they have one blanket each with that t-shirts, and they also wear, like Flynn is already pretty much almost Rob's size and height.
Yeah,
like
he has grown in the last 2 years,
incredible,
hasn't
like
he?
teenager now. He wears them like, nobody would be able to tell that they're not, they were Rob's t-shirts, because they look like they're his size now. He perfectly fits into them. Versus Jed, he still wears them at night time, where it's way too long, way too big, but he loves sleeping in that t-shirt, and that is beautiful. So they both have their pile of t-shirts that they keep, that they wear. They both have this pile of t-shirts that were made into patchwork blankets. Sometimes there was one moment, I'm going to share this, one moment where you were actually quite surprised that I got rid of that. I found one of my childhood toys, and it was a little choker with a blue choker hat with 2 bells on it, and a beautiful face with a little, almost like Pinocchio nose, like a little wooden nose. And it was on a stick, so you could turn it and it would play music. However, somewhere along all the moves that we had, or that I had in my life, the shell got broken and the music didn't play anymore, and I kept it there for years to one day fix it. And I looked at that, and instantly I thought, you know what, this one day is not ever going to come. I have no idea how to fix this. I have no idea how to fix this music toy. And I felt this moment of, it's time to let go. And it was so much more than just the choker. It was so much more. For me, there was a part of my childhood that I was ready to let go of. And I remember, it sounds so funny when I say that, but I actually kissed it goodbye and put it in the pile too.
That's okay. And if that's what gets you through, then that's what you do. And honestly, I saw that just the whole, like, it's like you flicked a switch, and I was like, wow. Because I sort of went, are you sure? Did you remember that? And I went, are you really sure about that particular item? And you're like, yep. I'm like, wow, okay, go for it. Okay, great. And then we moved on to the next one. And I still sort of looked and hesitated and went, wow, okay, yep, we're ready. And then there was another item too. It was a Christmas tree from your childhood too, and had the little, and I said, and again, I said,
wind-up one. It was about that high.
And it had traveled halfway around the world to get here. And I'm like, are you sure about this one? There's certain items where I triple, and then quadruple check, because these things are not something you can just go out and buy. These
life.
And it's just like, wow, okay. And the change in you that day, you just sort of just went, like, you just shook it all off your shoulders and just went, wow, done. And the change in you, and you just, and then you're strutting around after, and you could feel the relief off your shoulders. And I went, yep, okay, she has done the right thing. I could tell after that. And I didn't mention it again, but I knew it was just, you've taken a load off your shoulders, and you were happy, and it was just time. It was the right time. And it's okay.
The one thing I wish I would have done was to take a picture of that choker, and I only thought of it about too late. But this is why I talk to you about this right now, because sometimes it's all it takes, that you want to take a photo of something to remember it by. And it's not a big thing, It's like, would have been nice to, but I didn't think of it at the time. I just felt it was the right time for me to let go of it, and that's okay. So what other things can you do with things where you're like not sure to keep, not sure, you take a photo, or you keep it for later, you make it into patchwork blankets?
I mean, it's all right to have like a box or two of things, and I'm not talking about 10 boxes. I'm talking about 1 or 2 things from your childhood to keep, or stuff that you're not sure about, as long as you've got space to put it and it's stored properly. So not a box in the bottom of your garage that's going to get flooded, and then you're going to be really upset with yourself that it's destroyed. These need to be put away properly, as long as you've got space for it, and you know what's in the box and it's labeled. And then revisit it 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later. If you don't feel the same about the items, remove some of them or all of them. It's you'll know when you're ready, but you have to consciously be aware that stuff's there. So you don't want to keep piling and putting things away, because that's not the point of decluttering, and you're not actually going to get anywhere. And I think, honestly, you will be more sort of, I won't say the word upset, but you won't venture through the process if you're not being conscious and sort of standing up to yourself and saying, well, actually, hang on a moment, I'm just moving things around. I'm not actually getting rid of things. If you go through the process properly, you will then maybe get to a stage in 3 to 6 months where you think, okay, yes, I actually am ready to get rid of those items now. I wasn't before, and that's okay, but now I am. And we even did that within your own home, Marie, where 6 months before we even looked at some items and we weren't ready. You weren't ready to get rid of them, but later on you went, no, I am now, because you've gone through the process within your home and you realize those things aren't helping me within my journey. I am done with those. I'm ready to let go, and that's okay. We can do that, and you can do that. It's just, when, and I can also tell within it. I will sort of keep you honest and say, no, I don't think you're ready to let that go, or I can feel it within you. You do. It's just that when I say yes or no to you, and again, still up to you in the end. You still don't have to do what I say by any means, but I get to know you, and I can tell within your body language and just everything around you, and I can just feel the energy where it's a yes or a no or a maybe. And I let you know my opinion as well. Again, mine doesn't have to be where the buck stops, but it helps you. And then sometimes you go, oh, yes, I am. Okay, done, gone. And that's all it takes.
It's incredible, because like even just Rob's cupboard, like I wasn't even ready to start with that to begin with, and that's absolutely fine, and the thing is to always trust your gut feeling. You'll know when you're ready, and Brooke will feel it anyway when you're not. So Brooke, we talked about this beforehand. You have got something really, really beautiful for 3 eager viewers here. Do you want to share with us your little surprise, what you have in store for us?
Yes, I do. So we're going to, there's a chance for 3 lucky viewers to have a 20-minute conversation each with me. So it can be via Zoom, or it can be via just Messenger over the phone, which is possibly easier in my opinion for me. And we can discuss anything you need to, and I'll hopefully be able to help you with your own decluttering questions, and I'll answer them as truthfully and easy as I can to help you in your process, and gain some traction in your own home as to moving forward and creating the home that you deserve, really. So
that's really, really beautiful. Thank you. It's such a gift, because when Brooke said, hey, I'm giving away 3 20-minute phone consults for people, I think in those 20 minutes it's so much time actually to just get an idea of where on earth would I even get started, how do I address that, what do I need to do. And Brooke is just amazing in giving you a bit of a game plan, just okay, how about we start with this, how about we start with that. If you're lucky enough and you live within our circle geographically, you might even want to book her in, because it's just something that has helped me so much in my healing journey, to have somebody to do that with me. Because I kid you not, it's very different if you do that with a friend or somebody professional. You have a dedicated time where you get through, and you will be amazed at how much you get through in such a short amount of time. So I want to share one quick last example that just occurred to me, because I'm just looking out there into my yard that's being done, and I gave the beautiful landscapers an old pair of boots. I don't know if you remember, like when I emptied the brown the brown high boots. They were my motorcycle boots for my crazy wild years, and they were literally not just collecting dust, but they started to get moldy, because we unfortunately deal with a lot of moisture in the air here in Helensburgh. So we always have to keep an eye on things to not get moldy. My boots started to collect a little bit of mold on them. So what I did was I cleaned them up and I gave them to the gardeners, and I said, can we fill them with soil and plant something nicely in there? And I keep them as a feature in my yard, because I wasn't ready to let go of them. I wasn't ready to just watch them get moldy in a corner of a home where I'm like, you need to stay on top of moisture in Helensburgh, unfortunately. And now I'm going to look at them every day in my yard with beautiful what do you call them? I think they're called something silver, blah blah blah, but they're like hanging plants that grow over the boots, and it's
I know the particular one from your garden. Yes, you've got a bit of it.
Yeah, Yeah. So anyway, I'm looking forward to doing that. And I actually did that with Rob's work boots. He has 3 sets
Yes,
of
up
work
on your
boots.
balcony.
And yeah, and I'm gonna see if I can find that photo. I'm pretty sure I can, and I'll share it in the comments below as well. And I planted succulents that Rob had planted in his boots and gave them to his mum and his sister and one of his brothers
They're on
for
my
Mother's Day, and they still have them in their garden. So it's just really beautiful. It's such a nice sentimental memory.
That was a lovely healing process that day, doing that and repurposing them. And just something you can go out and smile at and look at from your lounge room or whatever. Again, with the quilt, you said to me, what shall I do with these? And I said, well, a very good family friend that I grew up across the road from my parents' house actually made a quilt out of my dad's shirts for my mum, just so she can, lay with it, keep herself warm, something to do with them. A few of them had holes in them just because, he did a lot of tinkering around and used them as work shirts. And then that's where you got the idea for your boys to give them the shirts of their dad. And it's something they will cherish. And it's the person that's created them as well is someone that's just put the love into it. And I tell you what, that blanket, every time I see it, it makes me smile. And even if I see your boys ones, I know the feeling.
And the only reason why I'm not mentioning her name, because I'd so love to give her credit, but the only reason why I'm not mentioning her name is because I want to avoid that everybody in town goes like, oh, can you make me one too? Because it's not her. It was literally a labor of love that she did that for me. And I just really appreciated it. It was a very personal thing that she did that for me. So I know if you're watching this, thank you so much. I'm not going to mention your name because I don't want the whole town to address you and go like, can you make me one?
So again, just find someone that that can do it. So and it's something that you will treasure and snuggle up in, especially in these, in Helensburgh at the moment. It's freezing. And again, you mentioned about the mold on things. So that's something too, when you're stacking things away and for later, for one day, take into account the issues that, within your hometown. So whether you are in a place where it gets very dusty, a place where there's lots of spiders or insects, or that there might be a mice plague at the moment if it's out central New South Wales, or the mold here in Helensburgh, the rain. You've got to factor all those things in when you're storing all these items, because that's your health that's being affected more than just your mental and physical health of seeing all the stuff. It's actual emotional thing where you've stored it for later, but then it's moldy anyway, or to the point where it's been destroyed by mold. Well, that's not going to help anybody, and that's going to put you back 2 steps back as opposed to 1 step forward if you deal with it then and there. It's okay to have stuff. It's as long as it's stored properly. And you know what's there, and you actually
it's also
cherish
nice to find the odd thing that you want to put on display, where you didn't even think of that before and it would have been away. And I have given so much away, but I've also found a lot of things. And like, I'm going to share this one last thing because I know we are running out of time very shortly. I have found, and you'll see it next time you walk past or come over, a little set that somebody was giving away on our local paying forward side, and it's a tiny little set with a all in red, a metal watering can, a rake, a spade, something like that.
Oh, I saw those.
Getting my garden done. I took the red set because I'm getting my garden done, and next to my staircase is this little, probably about 1 by 1.5 meters space where we had a frangipani tree. It didn't survive because there was too much water. So to cut a long story short, I decided to put snow white pebbles there, a couple of succulents, and that's going to look so nice to put the red watering can in there as if it's like a work in progress garden, and it's going to look absolutely cute. So I love it because it's going to look really nice with the white pebbles. And I have taken before photos. I can't wait to share the before and after photos. So it's in progress. But in a nutshell, Brooke I'm asking you to kindly share whatever you can, whatever you want to, with people in the comments below, so people don't have to go looking for it. And I always ask people that come to my beautiful interviews to share their contact details, so you can reach out to Brooke, even if you're not one of the lucky ones. If you want to be one of the lucky ones to win one of those free 20-minute phone consults, then please put yes, please, or me, or phone consult, whatever you want, so we know what you're up against or up for in the comments below. So just say yes, please, so we know that you want to be one of the 3 that win that. We're going to take the first 3, so be quick. Whoever posts it now watching this will be one of the 3 lucky winners. And Brooke can also share her Instagram handle. You will love her Instagram page. I constantly see stuff. You will also see my stuff probably on there, so I'm absolutely happy.
If you scroll through, you'll see the boots on the balcony. Yeah. I did put that photo. Now, I don't have a lot of my clients' photos on there because often we don't take photos because the clients don't want them. I have months go by where I don't share any photos, and that is the client privilege. So people say, you know, some people have all these beautiful glamour before and after photos. Well, that's not me. I'm keeping it real. Yep, I can go through, as I said, weeks without sharing any photos, because
but you'll see a lot of beautiful examples of, you know, I really love how stylish your page is, Bella Abode, but Brooke will share her link and also how you can contact her best. So this is what we're going to do for you. If you want to win one of those 3 phone consults, put yes, please in the comments below, and Brooke will reach out to you. So there's no more left to say then. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, not just for coming today, but for everything that you have done with me. Like, this is just really incredible. What you have helped me to accomplish in my home was just absolutely incredible. I love having spent this time with you. And I really appreciate that you've been here today, Brooke. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
I've enjoyed going through the journey with you too. I think you've helped me we were meant to meet at the right time, because you helped with me with the grief of my dad, and I've helped you with the grief and the, you know, going through Rob stuff. It was meant to be.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Right. Thank you, the beautiful, lovely people. Hey, Rain. That's a rare visitor. I'm really happy that you came as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching, for all the love that you sent through the interviews. And put your yes, please in the comments if you want to win one of those 3 20-minute consults. Lots of love to all of you. Thank you, Brooke, for coming.
Bye.
Bye.